county fair, an American stable that helps usher in the midway point of summer across many cities. During the numerous days in 1986, the Coos County Fair was a setting for thousands of people who wanted to enjoy the fun and festivities. Sadly, one person never returned home after attending the fair. This is the dilemma that befell one such family. Welcome to another installment of Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries. In this installment, we will be hearing the case of Jeremy Bright. This case first aired on the January 18th, 1989 episode of Unsolved Mysteries. Sadly, this case may never be solved because the numerous people who may have possibly had information about Jeremy have since long passed away. We are now going to go to the case information. Okay, it's now time for the case information. The person in question, his name was Jeremy Bright. His full name was Jeremy Dolan Bright. He had no known aliases. His date of birth was May 25th, 1972. Jeremy's age as of the televised airing of Unsolved Mysteries was 16 years old. Jeremy's age as of recording Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries, he would be 52 years old. The location was Myrtle Point, Oregon. The case classification is missing person. Jeremy has been missing since August 14th, 1986. When Jeremy went missing, he was 14 years of age. It is believed that Jeremy was 14 years old when he passed away. His body was never located, so they're basically kind of saying that he died, but they just don't have the body. Is this episode or this case on YouTube? Yes, you can actually find this case on YouTube. It's part of season 1, episode 14. I put the link to the case in the description below. The original televised episode air date was January 18th, 1989, and sadly this case remains unsolved. Up next, here are a couple commercials from the 1980s. When the commercials are done, I will be going to the Unsolved Mysteries Wiki and I will look up the case. Stay tuned.
Take a nap. What a hug.
Get a load of him.
Well, there's a super party animal. His name is Buzz McKenzie. With a beach in sight and a cold Bud Light, he's in the party frenzy.
He's Spuds McKenzie. What party-loving, happening dude.
Go, Spuds, go, Spuds, go.
Bye, Spuds. Call me.
Go, Spuds, go.
Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great day. Let me switch over to direct capture. There we go. And then I'll do this. And then Jeremy Bright. There we go. Let me full screen this. Okay, so if you are new to this series, basically I go to the Unsolved Mysteries Wiki and I will read to you all the case of Jeremy Bright. And I may take a break to get something to drink. I actually should have taken a chance to refill my cup here, so I'll probably, take a quick break during reading this, and I will fill my cup up. This is actually, even though it may look like a lot, it's not that long. It's only a couple paragraphs at the most. This is actually pretty small compared to other cases I have seen on this website. So let's get cooking, shall we? So we have Jeremy Bright. Real name is Jeremy Dolan Bright. A little interesting tidbit. I originally thought his name was Jeremy Donald Bright. So I ended up having to do an emergency change of all my graphics and everything because I put down like Jeremy Donald Bright and everything, Anyway. He had no known nicknames. The location was Myrtle Point, Oregon, and the date was August the 14th, 1986. Let's see, for his bio, they have him recorded as a student. The date of birth was May 25th, 1972. His height was 6 feet tall. Wow. He was like only 14 years of age when he disappeared, and he was already 6 feet tall. He was going to be a giant when he got older. Weight was 140 pounds. Single. Characteristics was white male with brown hair and green eyes. He has scars on his forehead and nose and a mole on his chin. His right index finger was broken at the time of his disappearance. He wore men's size 13 shoes. Wow. He wears the same size shoes I wear right now. I'm 43, and oh my god, this guy was going to be like, he was going to be like Andre the Giant size if he got older. Holy shit. Details. 14-year-old Jeremy Bright was a popular sports-loving teenager who looked forward to starting high school in the fall in Grants Pass, Oregon. In August 1986, the Coos County Fair came to Myrtle Point. Jeremy and his sister attended it, staying with their stepfather, Ollie. While there on Thursday, August 14th, Jeremy called his mother, Diane, telling her that he had finished heading to the fair. Wait, hold on. Telling her that he was heading to the fair at around 4:45 p.m. He supposedly went with his sister and a close friend named Johnny Fish. Possibly real name was Gray. Johnny Fish. Wow, that's a unique name. I've never heard a name like that. It's probably an alias, though. Probably an alias. Several witnesses saw Johnny and Jeremy together at the fair. 5 hours later, at 9:40 p.m., Jeremy went to a local tavern owned by his grandmother to meet Ollie, who had just finished work. Ollie gave him a few dollars and he left. Sorry. This was the last time he was ever seen. Okay, so we do have at least the time that he was last seen. So people know that it was around 9:40 p.m. So at least they now know when it was that he was last seen. So it wasn't like he was gone the entire day. He actually appeared at the family's tavern, basically. Okay, let's see here. Let me just mark this, and I'm going to scroll up. Here we go. 2 days later, Diane arrived at Myrtle Point to pick up Jeremy and his sister. However, he was not at the house. He had left his wallet, keys, and new watch behind. When he did not return that night, Diane called the police. At first, authorities believed that he had run away to join the fair. However, no evidence was found to support this theory. His family and friends did not believe that he would run away. On Sunday, August 17th, the fair left town. Ominous rumors began to swirl around Jeremy's disappearance. Okay, I'm looking over right now, and I didn't realize that it was not zoomed in. I am sorry, guys. I am sorry. There we go. There we go. Let's do this. Can I close this? Like, how do you can I close that? No, you cannot. Jesus, they do not have this optimized when you want to zoom in. You want to zoom in, and then you have all this like stuff on the side and whatnot. Let's see if there we go. Nope, that doesn't help either. Wish that you could just turn that off. Here, let's see. Hold on. Can I? Okay, so there's like no settings. But what are these? Let's see here. No. Okay, hold on. Okay, let me zoom in again. Okay, see here. Let's see here. Okay, Jeremy's experience. Let's see here. During the week of the fair, several parties were held. According to a rumor, he attended one and was offered a beer that was laced with a powerful illegal drug. One investigator was able to find witnesses that placed him at 2 parties that week. And it is possible that he died accidentally from an overdose at one. It was also possible that he had a heart murmur which caused his death. An anonymous jail source told police an even more disturbing story. He claimed that 3 local teenagers showed up and harassed Jeremy and a few of his friends while they were swimming at a local lake. One apparently had a gun and began shooting at him for target practice. According to the source, he was then shot and seriously wounded. The teenagers took him to a local cabin in an attempt to nurse him back to health. They make it sound like, oh, he was like a little kid trying to nurse him back to health. They shot the motherfucker. They shot the poor kid. You can't just like nurse him back to health. He needs actual like to go to a fucking hospital. Oh my god, we shot him and he's dying. Oh my god. Trust me, stupid people don't exist in just the 2000s. They existed in the 80s also. Try to nurse him back to health. Goddamn morons. However, he allegedly later died from his wounds, which is fucking sad because if this actually did happen, they still had a chance to fucking save him if they did what was right. But no, they were too fucking cowardly. That's what a lot of criminals are like. Criminals are a goddamn cowardly bunch. They will do wrong, but then they will not want to face the music. Let's see here. However, he allegedly died from the wounds. Then the teenager allegedly buried his body in the woods near the cabin. Authorities searched the surrounding area but found nothing. The authorities talked to Johnny's sister, Cecilia. She said that on the day after Jeremy vanished between midnight and 1 a.m., she and her friend were leaving her sister's apartment when they ran into a neighborhood teen with blood all over his clothing. Shocked, they asked what happened, and he responded, "This happened hours ago." He laughed and then went into another apartment. What I do not get is why is it that his sister did not reach out to I may be reading this wrong, but why did the sister not reach out to the mom a lot sooner and go, "Mom, Johnny or Jeremy hasn't arrived home, at our place yet." Why did the sister not let the mom know right away? A half hour later, Johnny arrived at his other sister's apartment. He was shaking and terrified of something, but refused to say what had happened. After 3 months of inactivity, the Coos County Sheriff's Department was finally contacted and asked to assist in the search for Jeremy. 3 months! 3 months after this kid disappeared. September, October, November, nearing the end of the fucking year, they all of a sudden decided to reach out. Oh my god. 3 fucking months. I'll just say that. However, to this day, he has not been found. Suspects. No names have been revealed in this case. Although 3 to 4 individuals from the Murder Point area have been considered suspects, but we can't know who they are. Their names have reportedly come up in several rumors surrounding Jeremy's disappearance. Well, if they come up in several rumors, and there's a chance that one of them could have been the fucking killer. The person on the top of the suspect list was later arrested and given a life sentence for an unrelated murder. Gee whiz, this person committed a murder. We have a teen who disappeared under ominous circumstances. Maybe this killer could be the person in question. Extra notes. God damn it. Hold on. This case first aired on the January 18th, 1989 episode. There are some discrepancies with the timeline for the week that Jeremy vanished. The broadcast stated that he was last seen on Friday, August 15th. Other sources state that he actually vanished on Thursday, August 14th. The thing is, you got to remember, this was like the 80s. This was the 80s, and I'm pretty sure record keeping isn't as it isn't as precise as it is now. Now you have like, safeguard on top of safeguard on top of safeguard. Back in the 80s, we didn't even have the fucking internet, ladies and gentlemen. You literally, if you wanted to see a file, that file had to literally kind of move from building to building. And sometimes police police stations did not like have fax machines, if I understood correctly. So you kind of just having to kind of wait for information to kind of get to you, and paperwork can get lost in the transfer and everything. Results: unsolved. Several people who were believed to have information on Jeremy's fate have since died. See, that's what the sad thing is. There were people who actually could have known what happened to Jeremy, and they have long since died. So, like, we may never know what ended up happening to Jeremy. I hate to be the cynical asshole that I always am, but I think the longer the person's gone, I think it's just time that we kind of face the music that sadly the person may be dead. Now, there are cases where people have been gone for a long time and they're still found alive, but it's still really kind of skewed in the in the other direction. Like, a lot more people are going to be dead than found alive if they're disappearing, or if they disappeared. I should have said that. His former babysitter, Terry Steinhoff, died of a drug overdose in prison in 2007. Wait a minute. So we had Terry Steinhoff, who was a babysitter. He was in prison. We had a person who was a killer that's also in prison. Wow, murder points really turning them out, aren't they? Holy shit. See here. While serving time for the unrelated murder of a Coos Bay woman. So this guy here, Terry Steinhoff, killed a lady in Coos Bay. Is this the same person that they're talking here? Because it doesn't say. Let's see here. Their names have reportedly become a list surrounding Jeremy's disappearance. The person at the top of the list was later arrested and given a life sentence for unrelated murder. Are they referring to this guy? So we may have like one killer here. Oh, sorry, one killer up here, the suspects. And then in the results, we may have another killer, Terry Steinhoff. Unless if the killer in the suspects is actually Terry Steinhoff. But still, he's a killer. He deserved to fucking die. Eye for an eye and all that. Well, Jeff, Gandhi said an eye for an eye makes the world go blind. Well, he's a fucking pussy. Anyway. Yeah, I said it. Okay, so let's see here. Around 1988, 4 of his friends died together in a car accident, and his friend Johnny died in 2011. His stepfather, Ollie, died in 2003 at the age of 66. His maternal grandmother died in... Okay, I'm starting to get depressed hearing about all these deaths. Holy shit. Grandmother died in December 1988. His father, Joe Flattery, died in December 2008. Holy shit. Can we please get done with all the deaths? I'm getting a little bit depressed here. Please consider Terry Steinhoff and his cousin David persons of interest in this case. On Saturday, August 24th, 1986, 10 days after the disappearance of Jeremy Bright, Dennis David Steinhoff had been arrested by the Coos County Sheriff's Office for being in possession of a firearm and first-degree burglary of a home on Catchings Creek, which is in the proximity of the Coos County Fairgrounds. Oh boy, I'm thinking we may have a winner chicken dinner over here. David was later released on his own recognizance. According to some accounts, Jeremy was last seen alive sitting in a vehicle with Terry and David, and David was the man seen covered in blood shortly after Jeremy's disappearance. Before his death, police tried to interview Terry about the case, but he was not forthcoming. Investigators searched property owned by the Steinhoffs but found no trace of Jeremy. Diane thinks his remains are located somewhere in Coos County. They probably are. They most likely probably are. Jeremy's family believes he's dead, and they held a memorial service for him in August 2011 on the 25th anniversary of his disappearance. Oh, jeez. That's fucking sad. That's sad. For your, I would like to think if I had a child and they disappeared, how would I handle it? I would think that I would keep up hope that my child would come home. But for them to kind of, for them to come out and say that they believe he's dead, and they had a memorial service for him in August 2011 on the 25th anniversary of his disappearance, to me that sounds like that they just kind of sadly gave up hope. They kind of gave up hope, and they're just kind of content with the reality that that their loved one is dead. Me, I'd be like, no, Jeff, Jeff, he's gone. No, he's not gone. He's going to come home. That would be my mentality. He's going to come home. We just got to be patient. He will come home. You would have to literally drag me kicking and fighting before I would finally have to admit that my son would be dead. I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could do that. Not without a body. I would need to see a body before I'm actually broken enough to finally say, yeah, my son's dead. Okay, what do we have here? Do we have anything on here? Okay, we have Jeremy Bright at Find a Grave. Jeremy Dolan Bright, 19. This is monument. Wait, hold on. Let's see here. Monument. I don't think I've seen the monument before. That's neat. 1972 to 1986. This is at the David DeWitt Veterans Memorial. Could be maybe his father or family member was a veteran or something. Okay, date of birth was May 25th, 1972. Location was Baltimore City, Maryland, USA. Date of death is August 14th, 1986. He was age 14. Location was Coos County, Oregon, USA. Hold on, let me zoom in a little bit. The monument is at the David DeWitt Veterans Memorial, North Bend, Coos County, Oregon, USA. And then all they really have here is his father, which his name was Joseph Leo Joe Flattery. I think that's Flattery or Flattery. The third, 1952 to 2008. Let's see here. Let's see. Let's take a look at these pictures. Okay, we have a picture of Jeremy. He looks like a nice kid. Okay, we have like a little placard or a marker, I guess you could say. Jeremy D. Bright, born May. I'm not all here right now. I couldn't recall what month was 5. May 25th, 1972. He was missing since 1986. He's a loving son, brother, and grandson. You are missed. Look at that view. That is a nice view. Here's another picture of Jeremy. Okay, that could be his sister Cecilia, possibly. Well, that can't be his sister Cecilia because she went to the fair with him, so she had to at least roughly be the same age as him. Another picture of Jeremy. My dad, he actually had a little motorcycle like this. It was yellow, though. Oh my god, I had a plaid shirt just like that when I was in kindergarten. Okay, so this was Jeremy at Disneyland, 1975. You could tell that his family really loved him with all these pictures and everything. First Easter, 9.5 months. Jeremy is 5. This was the spring of 1978. November 1981. Hey, this is the month and the year I was born. I swear, I think my mom even got a picture of me when I was a little baby at Sears, and I think it was in front of the same kind of backdrop here with the tree and everything. It must have been a popular tree back in the 80s. Let's see here. Spring 1978. You know, I can't help but wonder what would have happened to Jeremy if he survived to make it to today. You know, it's like I was talking to not my caseworker, my coworkers. And when my mom was alive, I was the type of person that if she walked up and gave me a hug, I'd be like, you know, like, Mom, no, no, you know, like, now that she's been gone for nearly 4 years, I'll be honest, I wish, you know, I would just wish to have one more hug like this, you know, I mean, like, just, I would give up everything I have just to spend 1 hour with my mom, you know, just to talk to her again. Okay, I think this picture was used on the actual video itself. And that is it. Ugh. So that was the sad, you know, life of Jeremy Bright, the poor kid. He really didn't have a chance to live, you know. He disappeared when he was 14, and like he was robbed of a lot of stuff, to be honest. And you know, nobody should have to go through that. But yeah, it's sad. You know, I hope that one of these days we get the answers to all these cases that are still unsolved. But when I return, ladies and gentlemen, it will be with the final thoughts. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back.
Last year's top movie is coming to your VCR. Top Gun. Buy it for the unbelievable price of $26.95. Tom Cruise in the video cassette premiere of Top Gun from Paramount.
Okay, it's time for my final thoughts, and this is ultimately, you know, a case I hate to say I do not think will ever get solved. All the major characters in this case are dead. They're gone. They're not in the union anymore, ladies and gentlemen, which is sad because of the fact one of those people had to have known what happened to Jeremy Bright. On the off chance, there's also the possibility that somebody may have heard something, or somebody may still know something that may have not been originally part of this. And all it takes is just that one person to help get these cases solved. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. Like literally, we can find the most like wanted criminals from like 40 to 50 years ago. We can find those people, but we can't find the killer of a 14-year-old kid. That's sad. That's sad. You know, the best case scenario is that babysitter could have been the killer and he's already dead. The worst case scenario is whoever killed this kid is still out there alive, walking around the general population. And that's not right. That's not right. This whoever was that killed Jeremy took a life, and if they're still alive and out there with everybody, they're able to still live their life like a normal human being when they killed somebody. Yeah, I do not like that. I do not like that. But yeah, so that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to say thank you to everybody who has watched this installment. It means a lot to me. Hopefully one of these days this case gets solved. You know, I would like to see these cases get solved. That's why I like to produce these videos. Next episode, ladies and gentlemen, we deal with the unexplained death. I think it was the unexplained death of John Martin was a state trooper who ended up getting killed in the line of duty. And thankfully, the person who was responsible was apprehended. Here is the promo for that case.
Last November, a Virginia sheriff was brutally shot while on patrol. Before he died, he described his attacker's car.
Okay, so I'm hoping to have the John Martin case uploaded tomorrow, which is the 6th of April 2025. It is a Sunday. If I do have it ready, it should be good to go 9 p.m. that day. So yeah, as always, if you like what you watch, which I hope that you did, feel free to click that like button, click that subscribe button, click all the buttons that you see. Well, just make sure you don't blow up your computer or anything, you know. But yeah, and I will see you next time. My name is Jeff, aka GCurse, wishing you all a great day. Stay safe, everybody. Peace out.
I know it's kind of early for this type of thing. I just wanted to be the first to tell folks in this area about the newest, biggest, boldest taste yet from Doritos. New Salsa Rio flavor. Imagine all those Rio Grande fixins plus big chunky salsa taste, and it's all on one little chip. The age we live in. Forgot about that crunch business.
New Salsa Rio flavored Doritos brand tortilla chips. One heck of a taste, one heck of a crunch.